Involved and good. Behind the scenes of the Jones Zone Studio podcast with Aaron Dodge.
That's me.
And we got Chris Jones.
That's me.
And we got the CEO, Brian Jones. That's it. All right.
You're still on the CEO.
I don't know why. It's not like it's a... All right. Can we see? Nope. I'm not in the...
Oh, I gotta press on the button too.
All right. Get it started.
Wow.
You went there.
I did. I went there.
Who's that? Black Eyed Peas?
Black Eyed... Don't act like you don't... Who is that?
I'm very... It's trust but verify. If I had to bet money on it, I would have said Black Eyed Peas.
You
What?
have to get me in it. Okay.
No, we have to. Oh, you know what I could do?
Oh, you're not going to hold it again like you always try to do.
No. Boom.
That never
Now.
works.
It does work. Let me pull it up on the... Let's get it started. See if it works.
Be like a DJ.
Crap, it didn't work. Sorry, I'll be right back.
I mean, we've done 100 of these. I don't know why every time.
105.
It's always drama with the Facebook Live stuff.
All right, we're back. Ain't no drama in the LBC. Should I start doing something like that? Like saying that? Can I make that a saying? Ain't no drama in the LBC. Will people get that?
What's that from, first of all?
With so much drama in the LBC.
And you're going to change it to no?
Ain't no drama, yeah. It's a 20-year... It's crooked, son of a... Alright.
Should wear this like a DJ. Like put this like, they put like up here. So
Wacky!
We had a
Alright, that's perfect, you guys, right?
Bowler, he's an electrician, and he was a DJ too in his past life. So he read like the weather report. It was hilarious. He was like, "It's gonna be sunny here in the Charlotte area. Watch out for thunderstorms." Like total cliche.
Moving in, we got the forecast.
All right, back to the.
All
And
right,
he turned into like a Jimmy Fallon character, like from Saturday Night Live. We're back. So, all right, you ready, Brian? Aaron,
yeah,
how about you? I got to check with him first.
Yeah, for real.
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
All right. Brian,
Chris.
count me down.
4, 3...
What? From 4?
Can we not compromise? Alright,
Alright.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1...
Welcome to the Jones Zone podcast, a.k.a.
The House of Jones?
a.k.a. the house that Jones built.
We just...
I thought we had 2 AKAs. Did we not?
No, you just literally just made that up.
Did we?
So now... Chris. Airport mode. Chris, come on, amateur hour over here, man.
Take 12.
Take
This
12.
is not... Look, we're live on Facebook. You got...
We're good.
Who was that? Aaron, I apologize. You know...
That's okay.
I can't.
No, it's not, because this guy...
Hurry up and go to voicemail already. I can't answer it and hang up. Alright, let's go.
Airport mode. Airport mode.
Airplane mode.
Airplane mode.
I'm gonna hide you.
Let's do it. We'll be right with you guys. Thank you and
I
apologize.
turned it.
Can you get that like? Beep. We'll be back to your regular scheduled.
I wish we could.
Instead of putting on airplane mode, I turned my Wi-Fi off, so I'm sorry. Idiot. That's why no one ever loved me, and I'm dying alone. Alright, count me down.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Jones Zone podcast, aka the House of Jones. How are you today, Brian?
I'm doing well, aka the house that Jones built. We're going back to that because we were talking about that before you recorded, and you just kind of threw me on the spot with the house that Jones built. What?
If you go back to some of the episodes, I guarantee you that you said that on there. I don't know which episode it was, and I wouldn't dare challenge you to listen to all 105, but
Okay.
you said that at one point.
Okay.
The house that Jones built. I don't know what that's from. Maybe from AJ Styles.
The
Or
house that AJ Styles
wrestling
built.
or
Yeah.
something.
You watch wrestling, Aaron?
I don't watch wrestling.
Huh. Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How can anyone not watch professional
I
wrestling?
I don't know.
You watch sports, though.
All the time.
And you don't watch professional
I don't
wrestling.
get that. Do you?
No. And quite honestly, I don't have time to associate with people who don't watch professional wrestling.
Do we? Which one of us should ask Aaron to leave?
I think you should. I'll do it. You do it.
No. All right.
We're kidding.
Today we are here with Aaron Dodge, who is the Director of Brand Management at the Littlefield Company. The Littlefield Company is a team of digital storytellers that storyboards and shoots photos and videos for web and social media with purpose, intention, and strategy. Telling your brand's story is the dream.
And they have good videos on there. I've checked out the website.
Yeah.
Really.
He also works for the the Charlotte Hornets.
It's like a New York accent. The Charlotte Hornets.
Yo, I work for the Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets. As a game operations manager. So, Aaron, welcome to the Jones Zone, man.
Thank you.
What does a game operations manager? We'll do it.
We'll get into
it.
Yeah. So, brief introduction out of the way. Tell us a little bit about your personal story, some of your professional background, and then how you got into doing all this cool stuff with Littlefield.
Oof. Like I said before, do you want the 5 minute or do you want the 20 minute?
Let's do 6 minutes.
Maybe 8. Yeah, 6 to 8.
Originally from upstate New York, parents really were smart and said after I graduated high school, we're moving south. So they live in Columbia, and I visited a school in Myrtle Beach called Coastal Carolina.
Yes,
and
CCU.
realized I really wanted to go there because it's 9 minutes from the beach. And so I went to college there, studied marketing, and after college, got an internship with the New Orleans Hornets in New Orleans, and
doing marketing stuff.
Yeah, just basic game presentation stuff. So still what I'm doing to this day, but in the intern form, from rolling T-shirts to setting up props, picking contestants, all that kind of stuff. The nitty gritty, stuff that people really don't understand.
The 14-hour days.
Chris was an intern for the Charlotte Knights.
Yeah, and so you work the business day, and then you got to stay for the game.
Correct.
You're in a 4-game homestand or back-to-back nights. It's a grind, man. I appreciate the work.
The arenas are always like climate ready and like at a certain temperature. You're working in like
baseball's miserable.
96 degrees in the middle of summer.
Humidity. Yeah.
Oh.
I've never had to do that.
You're stuck with the same. It's like being at camp or something in a weird way for the baseball season.
Because you stuck with the same people.
Yeah, like I said, you'd show up at 8:30, work the business day.
It's a weird summer camp.
Yeah, and then it's 5:30. You got the game at 7. So everybody just kind of...
You're sweating through every bit of clothing you have.
It's just... Games get over at 10, 10:30.
Oh, and then you're back at it the next day.
Oh,
that is rough. That is awful.
Yeah, it's sorry, man.
There's very few back-to-backs in the NBA.
Yeah,
so that's why I like it. But intern in New Orleans, was bumped up to a full-time intern the season after. Moved up to Minnesota, worked for the Minnesota Timberwolves and the world champion Minnesota Lynx, WNBA.
There you go.
Gotta give them a shout out because they're dynasty. Those are my girls. And then from there, moved back to Charlotte in 2013. Went a different avenue with multiple jobs, but then had a relationship with the folks at the Charlotte Hornets, and so still work game nights with the Charlotte Hornets. Got a good W last night, so still doing that for the Charlotte Hornets in the same sort of role, just a part-time game night role in that sense. But from there, I've worked with multiple brands in Charlotte, and then about a year ago, I started working with a small marketing firm called Arthur Elliott Marketing Group. And then at the end of this year, stepped away from that, and now I work as Director of Brand Management for Littlefield Company. So all over the place.
Yeah, so you guys specialize in like videos and photography. Is that part of your background too in marketing, or was your background more of like a sales and strategy type thing?
So from a game presentation standpoint, that's everything in the NBA everything that you see and do once you come into the arena. So that's anything from music to the dancers to the mascot to anything that goes up on the video board. So from a video board standpoint, I've shot multiple videos that have been shown in arena. Not myself, we always have a video team, but I directed, and the mascot's going to do a Christmas skit and he's something like that. Or if we're shooting something with the players, if you ever see like a player you know, the player tells you the top 5 movies that he likes, and he's on camera. I was always behind directing that.
Oh, okay.
So I've always been around video and enjoyed video in that sense. So I have an eye for it. I don't actually shoot with the Littlefield Company. I don't shoot video photography right now. I just do our branding and business development and social media. But we have a great team of videographers and photographers that do all that.
Were you the mastermind behind all of Cody Zeller's country music lyrics videos?
I remember that. Yeah. I was trying to think because we go to a bunch of games, and there's been a few times with the players on the screen. And I was trying to think of one, but it was Cody Zeller.
Yeah, or the other players couldn't. They're like, is that really a lyric or no? So let's talk about some of the fun stuff at basketball games, like the kiss cam.
Yeah.
What else? What else do you guys do?
There's the dance off,
the dancing type of stuff.
Yep. We do.
Give us a little bit of behind the scenes on that. How do you guys scour the audience?
It's really funny. The behind the scenes is really the most fun part of the job. I mean, for 9 seasons, it was my job to think of what's the funniest way for us to, you know, do a birthday shout out with the mascot. What's the funniest way that Kevin Love up in Minnesota can give away coats? So we did I went to the thrift store and bought four 4XL coats. And Michael Beasley and Wes Johnson all modeled off these these coats so that Kevin Love can do a coat drive for the kids of Minnesota. So it's really sitting back and thinking about what's the best way that you can be along with the brand, but also what's going on in pop culture. That's when you're going to start getting nowadays you're going to start getting that viral video. Is when you're going along with pop culture. So back, one of my favorite stories / fun ways in which we incorporated that. So the Harlem Shake was blowing up. I think it was February of 2012.
Remember the Heat did it and everything.
So that's funny that you say that. So the Heat did it, but before the Heat even dropped theirs, we shot one because we were about to play the Heat. So we said, what would be the best way to do the Harlem Shake? And my boss and I were over it. We're like, this, it's the same thing. The music drops. There's more people in the video than there was before the music drops, and everybody's just going crazy. I was like, we're over it.
Yeah.
So why don't we put somebody in a Heat jersey, and when the beat is supposed to drop, Crunch, the mascot for the Timberwolves, comes in with a baseball bat and whacks this guy. And we were going to air it at the Heat game. So we shoot it on Wednesday. Friday, the Heat dropped theirs, and we're like, come on. We had this legendary idea. But the funny thing was the fact that the Heat did it elevated ours. So some people probably were just like, oh, the Timberwolves saw that the Heat did this video, and then they went and shot this. But I obviously know that we shot it before theirs even dropped. But we definitely rode their coattails. And the other funny thing was that we had a miscommunication on who our actor was going to be in it, so it had to be me. So I'm in a motorcycle. I have a motorcycle helmet on and a Heat jersey, and Crunch, the mascot, comes through and hits me. And last time I checked, it's 8.3 million views on YouTube.
Dang.
So that's the funny stuff that we get to.
How often do you guys get roped into stuff like that? I mean, you try to find audience participants, right? For
Correct.
the most part. Yeah.
That was a fluke, and in all honesty, the only reason that my boss allowed me to do it is because I wore a motorcycle helmet.
Yeah.
If I don't get involved with too much going on in the in-arena stuff because people see me with a headset on and they know that I work for the.
Yeah.
How'd you like living in Minnesota?
Loved it.
Minnesota seems like it'd be an awesome place to live.
How long were you up there? Dude, it got some crazy snow this week. How long were you up there?
3 years. 3 years.
From what, 2010 to 13?
Yep. So yeah. The funny thing is, this is one of my favorite quotes from living up in Minnesota. You haven't really lived until you get brain freeze from cold air on your forehead. People think oh, brain freeze, it's like when you eat too much ice cream. If you forgot a hat and it's negative 20 and it's so cold on your forehead that you get brain freeze, that's you've
We grew up in South Dakota, so we would have to wear ski masks to the bus stop. You know, like ski masks. We were either A, going to school, or B, planning a heist of the shopette. of the
I remember
we had to rob the BX.
Mom had to like drive us around in a minivan to go trick or treating. And stuff. She I would drive 2 houses. All right, get out, go. We would run up to the doorstep and then come back to the van.
Run out there for Smarties. Get out of here, man.
And then, did you have to plug your car up when you lived there?
No, I very strategically made sure that I had underground parking.
Oh man, we used to have to crawl under. I don't know if Brian did. I don't know.
Of course I did. Yeah, I had to go. My dad had this old Suburban, and we had to like plug it up at night. So we had to take this huge orange extension cord, crawl under the hood or whatever it was, and plug it up, and then plug it into the house. It was disastrous.
Make sure the battery didn't die in the morning.
That was terrible. You had to get underneath the car?
Yeah.
Yeah, like some sort of
mechanic
or something.
Oh, it was all dirty. It was awful.
Yeah, what I tell people, when I was living in New Orleans, everybody that I had, I got the job offer and I was like, tell me about Minneapolis. Is it good? Like what everyone said, if you can handle the cold, you should go.
So this is post-Katrina, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so you're living in New Orleans after that.
Yes.
Were you there for that?
No, I was a year and a half after.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it was pretty crazy to go down to New Orleans and still see like X's on houses and stuff.
Oh yeah, I bet.
I had multiple friends that I made once I got there that were affected. Some people lost their homes. Some people, rebuild right where they were. Some people had moved to safer areas and stuff like that. So,
nice. So yeah, sorry I interrupted, but you started asking people what it was like to move to Minnesota. Is that what you said?
Yeah, and everybody said if you can handle the cold and the snow, you should go. And I'm from upstate New York, so that was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And I actually really enjoyed it because, like I was telling you, with the underground parking with my car, therefore my car could be started easily. And I lived in an apartment complex. I didn't have to shovel anything, and I also lived 6 blocks away from the arena, so I walked to work every day. So every pain point that comes along with living up north, which is scraping your car, starting your car, shoveling your driveway, and driving on an interstate with a bunch of other people when it's so jam-packed in traffic. All 4 of those factors that's why people hate living where there's snow was all gone because I lived close enough to the arena and I had all this kind of stuff. So it took people an hour and a half to get to work days, and it always took me 15 minutes because I walked to work every day. It just obviously if it was negative 15, I would make sure that I walked in the Skyway. But the Skyways are amazing. The fact that it's like I can go from one end of the city to another one and not even go outside is amazing.
I've never heard of that. Have you?
So there's a few in Charlotte.
Yeah, I think I've seen a couple in Charlotte. It's kind of like the BX at South Dakota when they had the old BX and then the new BX, and there was like this glass tunnel. Remember that?
Yeah.
You connect it, but
it's
this
always
is
like
just
one
above
level
it.
above ground.
Yeah.
And it's basically like just connects buildings.
Yeah, I've seen some of those in Charlotte. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. All right.
Now, I imagine you had to interact with cheerleaders at some point. Did you have the same problem that Brian had, where like he had a couple that were like super into him and they would stalk him, quote unquote? That's what you were saying.
I want to hear more about this.
Oh, you don't want to hear about this. It's just
a couple of them fell in love with you, or something weird.
Yeah, but it gets to the point where they were stalking me. No, I'm just kidding. But,
we had Celia on talking about the dance team. Brian was like, "Hey, will you tell Melissa to stop calling me?" I forget what the name he used.
it was probably.
I'm pretty sure. I remember listening to that part, and I was like, "Thank God, there's no Melissa on the team."
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I know, right? That could have been bad.
All right, so talk how you transitioned out of basketball, even though you're still in it part time, and got into videos and creative and all that different type of stuff, and now you're with Littlefield. So how did all that kind of take place? I mean, did you kind of get your fill with sports entertainment, or?
Yeah, so I wanted to my degree is in marketing. I wanted to step away from the full-time sports arena. I love being part of it on a game night standpoint. I got a great relationship with everybody at the Hornets. I still have a great relationship with the NBA. Last summer, I actually went to South Africa and worked at what they call the NBA Africa game, which is a bunch of players from around the entire world, and some players from African descent, and they played a game in Johannesburg.
Cool.
So, out of the NBA game from a full-time role, but I'm still kind of in there. I love marketing and I love branding. That's what I did when I got to college, and I can't really say I stepped away from it because marketing and branding is in everything that I've done in the NBA. I'm not buying ads. I'm not marketing our new season packages and stuff like that. But what we do in Arena is, in a sense, marketing and branding from top to bottom. From, like I said, from the dancers to the mascot to the video board to music in Arena. So, but I was looking to step out and do that from a full-time role. So that's when I moved into the marketing role that I took last year. We were a small company in Charlotte, like I said, called Arthur Light Marketing Group. They worked mostly with Napa Auto Parts. So they held different territories throughout the U.S. and did, took their budgets and then deployed that throughout all of the stores in each territory. From my territories were Idaho and Alaska, stuff like that. So really enjoyed doing that. Really enjoyed working in the ad agency scene, and then I've always enjoyed, like I said, branding. So personal branding, like I do on social media. And
you do a really good job at branding on social media, by the way.
Thank you.
Apart from your awesome dance moves and everything like that, which I'm jealous of, how important is branding for business and personal?
Huge. It's. I feel like when I talk and I get excited about this stuff, I end up using like 97% of what Gary Vaynerchuk says, because that's probably my...
Okay, so who's Gary Vaynerchuk for the people listening who don't know who he is? There might be one or two.
Oh gosh, Gary Vaynerchuk he hates to be called this, but they consider him a social media guru, but he basically took his dad's wine company from, I think, like 10 million to a crazy number, but he basically was on YouTube before anybody was on YouTube doing wine shows about what wines he liked, what wines he didn't like, and then from there it took off. Now he's grown his personal brand. He's wrote 5 or 6 books, and now he owns VaynerMedia and Vayner Sports, and he is just absolutely crushing the branding and personal branding content.
He should write a book called Crushing It, because he's obviously crushing it, right?
Yeah. I think it just came out.
I think I pre-ordered it, so hopefully it's coming. Actually, wow, today's like, okay.
It probably is the day.
I got excited because it's coming soon. But
Gary Vaynerchuk is basically the reason why we're doing a podcast right now. He was speaking at Inman Conference, which Inman is like a huge real estate conference, like the biggest real estate conference they have. Okay. And he was a keynote speaker at the Inman Conference, and one of the real estate agents asked him, if you were an agent, what would you do in today's real estate market to stand out? And he pulled out his phone. He's like, I would be the digital mayor of my town. That's my Gary Vee impression. He goes, I would interview every restaurant owner, every principal, every school teacher. And basically, that's what we're doing. And so Gary Vaynerchuk is really, he's the real deal. He's the real deal with branding and marketing.
So check him. I mean, for everybody on here, check him out. Gary V on Instagram and Twitter, and his YouTube is Daily V's. I don't go a day without watching him. So personal branding and how you brand yourself and your business is it's the only way to go these days. You're basically the CEO of yourself, and if you want to put yourself out there, you have a medium in which you can do that. Your cell phone is like it's the biggest game changer that our mankind's ever seen. So the fact that I can put out a video and people can see it, the fact that you guys can put out a podcast and have listeners coming from, I'm guessing that there's multiple states, possible multiple countries listening to your podcast.
We're lucky if we get multiple counties. I'm just kidding.
We do have multiple countries, but that's probably because you're friends with people all over the world because of your Air Force connections. But
hey,
anyways,
it is what it is.
It'll work.
So yeah, the biggest thing over the last probably 12 months I've really taken from Gary Vaynerchuk is self-awareness. I mean, I'm going to sit here and tell you that I'm like vegetarian. I'm 31. I'm single. I work in the NBA. I like to dance in front of my mirror on Instagram every morning. And when I wake up every morning, the only thing that is really, like, obviously my job is my job, but the only thing really on my mind is how can I inspire someone today? How can I make somebody laugh today? And how can I...
Well, you made me laugh this morning, by the way. So
okay, well then my day's done.
Your day's
so
done.
I can just pack it up and go.
Pack it up and go watch TV. You're done.
Yeah. And ultimate goal for me currently is to get on the Ellen Show in some sense.
The Ellen Show. Okay.
It'll happen.
We can make that happen for you.
I really feel like it's gonna happen. And the funny thing
Chris
is,
and I use our connections.
it's just the way the internet works. You're only one video away. So I always keep putting out content that's really making, I don't want to say fans, but my followers and family. Well, obviously my family's like, my mom's like, why did you just post that?
Yeah, that'd be like,
I
don't think you should have posted that, Brian.
It makes Thanksgiving and
I'm
Christmas
branding myself.
really fun when mom's like, you didn't really have to post that. So I keep all of the stuff that she would question on Instagram. Sorry, Mom.
Yeah.
But
so you're a vegetarian?
Yes.
Is it because you're an animal lover, or is it health reasons? Why did you choose vegetarian?
So 2 years ago, it started out with a previous girlfriend who had some health issues, and so we decided, watch a couple of documentaries, and decided that it would be the best route for us to go vegetarian for her. We got 2 weeks into it. We both felt amazing, and obviously she was like, you don't have to do this for me. But I was like, I feel amazing, so I'm gonna keep riding the train. From there, it transitioned from both how I'm feeling to also animal activism in some sense. So I've kind of, really come into my own as far as like figuring out what works for me. I think everybody's different. I have, I'm intolerant to gluten too, and I'm lactose intolerant. So it's actually really not that big of a challenge for me.
It's almost
necessary.
Almost.
Yeah. It's necessary in that sense. So, no, and there's a great vegan vegetarian community in Charlotte as well. I mean, back in the summer we got together and there was like 35 of us, had like a vegan potluck and stuff like that. There's great restaurants like Luna's Living Kitchen. And
see, I could do vegetarian. I couldn't do vegan.
Okay.
Because vegan, you can't have butter, right?
No butter, no eggs.
See, I could do vegetarian. I could.
Could you?
No, I probably
really. I love how Aaron said that. Could you though?
I would like to think I could do vegetarian, but vegan would be just too much. I couldn't give up butter, milk.
Not forever.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle, right?
That's what I'm saying. You could do it. I mean, you could do it for like a couple days or a week or something. But
I could do what?
You should do a week. You should do vegetarian for a week.
Probably go vegetarian or vegan for a week.
Think I could do it? You think I could do vegetarian for a week? You think I could do it? You bet me.
No, I'm not gonna bet you anything. What are you
I'll bet you.
You gonna bet me? $10 says I could. Starting when? Because I just bought like.
Oh, here we go.
I just spent $50 on groceries yesterday.
You bought some steaks and stuff.
I bought sandwiches.
I want to throw that away.
I bought sandwiches.
That's not me. I bought bologna and hot dogs. I don't want to waste prime meat. Hey, Aaron, what's the difference between branding and marketing, in your opinion? Or is there one, really?
I mean, there is one, but I see them as one and the same. I mean, marketing to me is more so of where you're deploying your branding, and then branding is what your actual voice is. So that's what So I would not really put the Littlefield Company into the marketing bucket. We like to say that we're brand storytellers, but we can also be an arm to your marketing department. Mm-hmm. So if there's anybody out there listening that's like, oh, we already have a marketing team, we don't need Littlefield Company. I mean, it's not that sense. We'll come in. We had, we've already had a lot of meetings since I came on in January, and we're just letting people know that we're here to support you. Just like Gary Vaynerchuk says, content is king right now. So if you're not taking high resolution photos and shooting video of some sort, it doesn't even really matter if it's from your phone or with us. Obviously, if you want a high level video, you can use that through us, but that's what you need in 2018. I mean, that's what you needed in 2015, 16, 17, and 18, but there's still people that, that I see a brand and I'm like, I really like that brand, like that X company is doing great things. They're in Charlotte. They've been around for a year. They make X product. They're doing a really good job of, let's say, making that product or being successful in that product. But how are they telling their story? Maybe they source all of their X product from from in North Carolina instead of outsourcing it to China. Well, that's a great story that we need to tell. So how are you telling that story? If nobody knows that you're local and that you keep your brand local, then you're not capitalizing.
You're missing out.
You're missing out on the ability to capture that story and tell that story, because how you tell your story is how you sell your brand.
And people buy things from people they know, like, and trust, and having that story and having that brand come out, and it just helps out tremendously. Look at Tom's shoes. You know, Tom's shoes, everybody knows that they donate a pair for every pair that you buy. Mm-hmm. Well, there's also a couple other companies. What I want to say, this could be wrong, but is there a Bob's shoes or something? There's like a competitor that looks like Tom's, but it's never took off because their story wasn't there. People know and like and trust Tom's. They know what Tom's is all about.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Are people, when you meet with potential clients, are they hesitant to share their story, or do they feel like it's a great strategy and they're all about it?
Hesitant to tell us their story?
Yeah, and just to share it. I mean, like, we feel the exact same way that you do in terms of storytelling and exposing who you are. I mean, that's part of the reason that we do this podcast, and it's actually the phrasing that we use when we ask people if they want to come on, do you want to share your story and why you do what you do and how you got there. But some people aren't always comfortable with that. I mean, what are some of the challenges you guys see in terms of getting people out of their comfort zone?
I think a lot of people don't want to be vulnerable in business.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. It's just like it's our job. It's funny because it's our job. It's kind of like we're on a date with the client. They don't necessarily want to tell that to us, but it's asking the right questions to get that out of them. It's just, we're working with a company, and he gets it's for a product for plantar fasciitis, and he gets his molds from Huntersville, and it took us within like 3 meetings in order to understand that that's where he gets his mold made. That's great. He can get these made cheaper overseas or in another state, but he's getting them made here in Huntersville, and it's like I said, it's asking the right questions, and it doesn't mean that we're gonna get that storyline out of them the first time. That's why we really enjoy being a marketing arm to the marketing team. We're gonna meet with our clients anywhere from 2 to 5 times before we even pick up a camera. That's just how we work. We want to know that when we come in to a certain company, that we know that they're gonna want the lighting to be like this because that falls in with their brand. Or they're gonna want to, shoot the CEO because he's a better public speaker than the CFO. So it's just understanding what their needs are, and we really pride ourselves in the end result of when we give the product to a client. It's our goal from day one that they don't give us any edits. If we send a 1-minute video to a client, we should already know what they want to see, what kind of music they want, what kind of lighting they want, all because of the extra time that we're taking to actually meet with them and understand their story. So we really pride ourselves in making sure that we can deliver that to the client. I think Duncan, our CEO, he got asked a question. I'm having some trouble really understanding this whole edit thing. When a client sends back an edit, how do you take that? Do you stand up for how you edit? And he's like, over the last 6 months, we've really had no edits come back on any of our videos, because we know the brand and how they want to tell their story so much before we even pick up a camera. That's the way that we do it.
You know what else I think? I think people downplay their story too. I'm not interesting. I don't have, I started this company, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, why'd you start it? And, if you start asking questions, well, yeah, I lost my dad when I was younger, and, he and I used to go fishing together, and I just remember the bait, so then I wanted to start that's just a silly example, but it's no, dude, you have a story behind your company and your brand, man, so go with it.
Everybody can tell their story. but some people don't want to, which is fine. But some people also don't understand that their story is compelling to begin with. Like you just said, like that guy might have a bunch of friends where he's like, yeah, I'm going to start a bait company because me and my dad used to fish. And they're like, oh, that's cool. But everybody else think that that's just awesome.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? Like, you went all in on bait because you and your dad used to fish every Saturday, and that's how, like, that's the type of stuff that you really need to know and understand. I always tell the story. One of my favorite Shark Tank people of all time. I can't remember when it was, but it was this farmer, and he made teepees for plants.
Man.
Remember this?
Yeah, that was
he made teepees for plants. And basically the water, when the water shoots up into the air, it goes everywhere. But he made a teepee for the plant, so therefore when the water hits the teepee, it falls directly where the plant needs to be grown. Therefore, plants are growing percentage more, blah, blah, blah. And he just started, like, crying, like, right in front of all of the sharks. And it was just like, I really want this because, it doesn't matter about me. Like, I want the farmer in Idaho that I've never met before to yield better crops because it's better for him. And if I make a little bit of money with these teepees, then I'll be okay. And one of the sharks just gave him exactly what he was asking for.
It was a guest shark too. It was I can't remember who it was, but he basically stood up and said, "I'll do it with you." And ironically enough, I think his dad passed away, and he was trying to carry that on because it was him and his dad's invention. And he shared a story about how he went onto a farm and put the covers on this woman's trees. And they had like a big frost, and those two trees that he put the thing on were the only ones that didn't die. And she was like, I want 1,000 of them or something. He was just like,
oh wow.
So that was crazy. We need to Google him and see what's up with that company.
No, he's probably killing it, but it was just amazing for him to get. I don't even he didn't think he was going to get a deal, or he didn't he just.
He was just like, he was like I'm not, this isn't a slight in the least, but he was like a simple dude, He's
so
like,
simple.
Yeah, he's like a farmer, just kind of.
Still probably got a flip
almost
phone.
naive a little bit, yeah. And it was like, dude, you're sitting on a gold mine with this, and all you're really doing is trying to help people.
Yeah, that's the thing. He just wanted to help people, and he didn't.
Tree TP now in 2008 after Shark Tank.
That's him.
After Shark Tank update. Prior to the appearance on Shark Tank, Tree TP was relatively unheard of. Few farmers used it, and those that did were mostly local to the vending area. Johnny George's. The owner of Tree TP has come to Shark Tank looking for increased funding to expand his business. Let's see here. Yeah.
Oh, they kind of summarized.
25,000 gallon. Wait. To 800 gallon. I don't know. We'll get into that later. But.
You read it and then let us know. That's like summarizing the episode.
Yeah, exactly.
John Paul was.
We'll figure out where he's at.
All right, so we know how Storia works. How is social media? I mean, even since you've been working in the last 5 years, it's changed dramatically. What are you guys encouraging people to do on social media in terms of what's the best bang for your buck? I mean, should you be on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of it?
It's the go where your audience is. In all honesty, I went all in on Instagram. Probably about 18 months ago. I like the way that I can interact with my followers. I like the way that I can reach out to businesses. The ability to touch point from a business standpoint is phenomenal. There's a company called No Cow that has dairy-free, gluten-free protein bars that are plant-based that I absolutely love. And I reached out to them on Instagram and said, hey, do you guys have any brand ambassadors? Would love to be a brand ambassador for your company.
Is that the same as influencer? Or is that... Well, I guess influencers you have to finish first.
Influencer
right?
is like the all-encompassing. Like you have a certain amount of followers, and then people reach out to you to push their product. I like to go. I mean, because I don't have the followership that a lot of people have on Instagram. So basically, what I do is I go in the reverse. So reverse engineer, like Gary Vaynerchuk says all the time. So I go at brands and say, look, I already use your brand. I post your brand all the time that I'm eating your brand or buying your brand. Do you have any brand ambassador spots? I would love to be one of them. So No Cow reaches out to me and says, unfortunately, we're not doing any brand ambassadors right now. The conversation could have ended right there, and that would have been totally fine because I already appreciated them for getting back to me.
Yeah.
In one sense. But she says, we're not doing any brand ambassadors right now, but I will send you some free product. What is your address?
Oh, hey.
Within 3 days, I had 4 bars and 2 of their new products, cookies that they're launching. And she said, tell me what you think about these. I mean, that's it doesn't take any effort. I mean, obviously, NoCow, this company is a lot larger than a 3-person company. I mean, they're mass producing. They're all over the country.
So we can get free food just by reaching out? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so like Wendy's. So I was wondering if you could be a brand ambassador. There's
Mail me a Sunday?
There's French fries on the way. But no, it's just number one, your question. Go where your followers and go where you can interact the most with the people that, if it's a business, are buying from you or where they can get at you the easiest. So I went all in on Snapchat, just like Gary Vee said back in the day. I went all in on Snapchat and grew my followership on that well up to the point that Instagram stories came along. And then once Instagram stories came along, I fell off of Snapchat. There's not a good way for me to interact with brands. There's not a way, if I'm hanging out with you guys, that I can tag you guys. So I dropped Snapchat and went all in on Instagram stories. It's just knowing and understanding where you want to interact the most. If I eat a NoCow bar, I can tag NoCow in there, and they can give me some love, or they can.
You know what I did with Pringles one time, and this is why I got a beef with Pringles.
Okay, let's hear it.
You want to hear why I got a beef with?
Yeah, he asked about it. He's like, "This is why."
So I tweeted. It's not Instagram, but I tweeted at Pringles.
Yep.
I say, "Hey, can we get a multi-flavored? Can we get a multi-flavored can?" And they say, yeah, that's a great idea at BP Jones 03. We'll look into it. And then, like a year later, they're actually pushing this thing out. They were. I saw a tweet that said like they were putting multi-flavored cans together.
I remember that really well because there was.
Are you looking for royalty? Or are you looking?
I tell you what. I will settle.
I'd settle for a lifetime
supply of free Pringles. I don't want the money. It's not the money. Especially if I'm going vegetarian, I need more nourishment.
That's true.
I remember this conversation very well because we talked about what the flavor change should be. We said they should launch with. Do you remember?
Yeah, ranch, sour cream, and cheese.
No. It was sour cream and onion.
Yeah.
And then cheddar and sour cream, and then cheddar. So there was like a perfect transition of flavors.
Well, I feel like you gotta throw barbecue in. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll revisit this and
we're talking about Pringles.
Reach back out to
Hashtag
Pringles.
boycott Pringles.
Hashtag boycott Pringles.
Alright.
Flavored can. Alright, so let's talk about Littlefield a little bit more.
Sure.
Your buddy launches this company. Like, what made him do that?
So Duncan's a retired PGA golfer, and so he understands back to personal branding. He understood that personal branding is where social media and where everything was going, and obviously he wanted to tell his story, so he got into photography, and he's a really good photographer, so that part of his business grew. Then he understood that anytime that he was on a shoot with a brand, number one, he was a photographer, and there was also a videographer there, so why not be offering both opportunities? The other thing that he recognized too was when he went onto these shoots, there was no continuity between the videographer and the photographer, and also not even with the brand. So therefore, just like I said before, we should have so many meetings with our clients that there shouldn't even be any questions once we get on the day of the shoot or anytime that anybody picks up a camera. So basically, what he did is he morphed the two together and started doing not only photography but videography. So it's him and our head videographer Ethan is the two that shoot our video, and then Duncan will shoot photography as well. And then we also have a couple of other freelance photographers that are based up the East Coast as well. So we have a guy in Connecticut, a guy in New York City, and then we also have a few other photographers here in Charlotte. So he wanted to, obviously he had to change the name of his company because he added videography, so he didn't want to be X photography because he was doing videography as well. So he LLC himself, Littlefield Company. I reached out to him just because he's a buddy of mine. I reached out to him in November, and we just had coffee. And he's like, "What do you what are your goals? What do you want to do? And I was like, I want to continue to push content for my personal brand, whether that be a funny video on Instagram or serious stuff, or last year I was doing a lot of ambassadorships, one with a charity event called Beers and Burpees, and another with I was a marathon ambassador for the Charlotte Marathon, ran my first marathon.
Awesome.
So he reached out to me, we just had coffee, and it kind of just manifested itself out of thin air. I realized that I wanted to continue in the world of branding, in the world of content. So
it's fun, isn't it?
It's a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
It's really cool to not only work with a good buddy, which is awesome, but number two, to really sit down and have these kind of conversations. Like, tell me about your brand. Tell me what you don't like about what you guys have been doing from a marketing standpoint. Tell us how photography and videography can benefit your brand right now. What can we tell about the story and stuff like that? So we had a great meeting yesterday with another company, and it kept going and going and going. Like, well, tell us about this, and she's like, well, we're in this niche right now, but we're looking to expand to the consumer, and we're looking to expand to more businesses. And we're just like, okay, like, first we can tell a story about your company to begin with, but now you want to extend the consumers, so now we can tell another story there. We can tell another story there. So that's basically the long-winded story of kind of where Littlefield Company came from. And then, like I said, I decided in mid-December that I was going to leave my current role and take a leap of faith, follow my passion, and really run with Duncan and with the Littlefield Company. And for being 3 weeks in, we got a lot of great stuff going on.
That's
so
awesome,
excited for 2018.
That's very cool.
Hashtag level up.
Hashtag level up.
All right, I'm gonna put you on the spot with a couple questions. One, what's your favorite book, or other than Gary Vee, what's some of your favorite books or resources?
It's so crazy to me that you asked that, because I was like, I wonder if they're going to ask me what my favorite book is. No joke, I said that to myself.
Like, out loud?
No, I think it was like brushing the teeth. I was like,
oh, no.
every day.
Your roommate's like, what?
Once I decided what song I was going to dance to on my Instagram prior, that was the next question.
So what's the deal with that? You do that every morning?
Oh, he's got moves, man. I wish I had moves like that, dude, for real.
Like
he can do it all, man. Hey, break him off some dance moves.
Maybe later.
Just follow on Insta. And
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Insta.
At Aaron_Dodge for Facebook people. So the dancing story. So a friend of mine, Katie Dixon, we met. She owns a fitness studio up in Cornelia. She's opening one in Dilworth soon. We met. We followed each other on Instagram, and then I realized that she had this cardio, what they call cardio dance class, which is an amazing class. All the top hits are like Motown Philly, all the way up to like Calvin Harris. It's like new.
How old are you, dude? Oh, you're 31, right?
31,
Okay.
yeah. So,
Motown Philly's back again.
Wow.
well, I think the did was kind of off.
Yeah, it wasn't high enough, I don't think.
But don't try to do it, please.
Okay.
Thanks.
I knew it.
So basically, I reached out. Once again back to Instagram. On Instagram stories, a random day in July, I decided that I was going to dance to a certain song in my mirror and tag her and say, like, Katie, where you at? I heard you have a cardio dance class. Well, she like lost it and said, you like download the video that you made and send it to me. I'm going to put it up on my platform, or like my studio's platform and stuff like that. And it just like snowballed. She was like, I got so many comments like, you have to like make sure you dance like again tomorrow in your mirror. And it just like the first week it just like went off, and then a lot of people from her brand started following me, and like,
that's funny.
It's hilarious. And like I told you when I said like what I think about when I wake up is like, how am I going to inspire and make people, like, that's exactly how it's really continued. I mean, to this day I'll still get a message from a high school friend or a message from a college friend that lives in New Hampshire that says like, every morning these make my day. And that's basically the fuel for me to keep going. I've been thinking about how to level up on that, so we'll see.
Can you add singing? Is that a possibility? Or?
So I do a little bit of karaoke.
What's your go-to song?
Lip syncing. Oh, my go-to song for karaoke?
Yes.
What's Your Fantasy by Ludacris.
I would not have guessed that.
And the funny thing is, I don't really need lyrics. So my favorite karaoke bar is 820 Karaoke in the Music Factory.
Okay.
And about a year ago when we went the first time, they had that song, so I sang it. I really didn't even look at the screen. Well, so it came back. It came back a couple of months later, and they're like, we have new regulations. We're not allowed to pull songs off of YouTube anymore. We got to keep whatever we have here in the queue, and they didn't have it in the queue anymore because of the words or something like that. So I was a couple months later, I was like, let's just try it out. Just play the song and I'll rap over top of it. Like, I don't really need the lyrics. And so that's basically what I do. And they're like, every time I walk in, they're like, are you doing What's Your Fantasy tonight? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, let's do it. But
He's doing it, guys. He's doing it. He said he'd do it. All right. So do you have a favorite book or no?
Oh, that's what the question.
Yeah.
That's where we started. Favorite book is...
Or not necessarily favorite, but just something that you felt was inspirational or motivated you or found useful.
It is What You Say When You Talk to Yourself by Dr. Helm. I'm going to butcher his last name. Can you Google it for me?
Yeah.
Shadmeister.
Okay. I haven't heard that one.
It's the best. In my eyes, it's the only book that you need. The premise of it is, and I might even butcher this, but the premise of it is your mind is basically a computer, and what you feed it on a day-to-day basis is basically how you're going to manifest yourself. So it's what you say when you talk to yourself. How are you talking to yourself on a day-to-day basis? Are you saying the words like, I can't get up this morning? Or are you saying the words like, are you analyzing why things happen, and are you talking to yourself? So like, I even have like a note card in front of my mirror that says, good morning, Aaron, how are you? Like, how are you talking to yourself each day? It's like, it doesn't matter if when you woke up this morning, you forgot to work out. It's okay. How are you talking to yourself about that experience? Are you saying, it's okay that I didn't work out this morning, I have time?
You slob. What's the matter with you?
Yeah. So
Look at you.
It's a great book. It's basically saying the first couple of chapters are like, motivational speakers and going to conferences where they rah-rah, blah, 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 are pointless, because when you come home, you're the only person that's really driving.
It doesn't last.
It doesn't last. And what are you telling yourself? Whether that be out loud, you can tell yourself that verbally, you can write it down, or you can think about it in your head. But whatever you're saying to yourself, your subconscious mind, every single thought that you have is being filed into your brain, aka computer. And you can really see the kind of person that you are and the way that you are with either your business, your family, your relationships. It's all hell-bent on what you're telling yourself.
It goes back to kind of like the law of attraction. What you put out is what you get back.
And so it's been my favorite book for about 3 years now, and I read it once or twice a year just to kind of re-up on some of the things that he does. I mean, he has good examples in there about. He actually has like verbatim, like how you can motivate yourself, or like if you're a worrier, like you can on page like 199, I am not a worrier. Today I will focus on getting everything done that I wanted to. If I don't get everything done that I wanted to, I will tackle it the next day. It's just like, it's really,
that's awesome.
And and he's a doctor. It's like his understanding of the brain is it's science. That's the best part about it.
Awesome, man.
You have to check it out. It's only $7 at Barnes & Noble's. I tell you, it's the best $7 you'll ever spend.
I'll do that. Well, Aaron, tell everybody how to get in touch with you. We got to wrap up.
Sure. Way to get in touch with me is, like I said, it's my favorite way to interact with people. So I would probably say Instagram at Aaron, AARON_Dodge. Healthy dose of laughter, dancing, fitness. Like I said, ran my first marathon back in November. Still involved with the Beers and Burpees charity, which is a great charity that's all of their money goes back to a nonprofit here in Charlotte. So yeah, a daily dose of laughter, dancing, and a little bit of fitness.
What's the Littlefield